Miss Lowe was the neighborhood grandmother everybody loved, even the adults, because Miss Lowe was always up for a babysitting job, but to her it wasn't a job, she just loved having kids around. I remember her as being an old lady maybe in her middle 70s, and to us kids, that was ancient. Miss Lowe always had the best candy, sandwiches, and ice-cold Kool-Aid or pop around, and if she wasn't home, she would always leave a note on her door letting us know she'll be back later, because she had no family, and she would always say we were her family, and I guess we were because we would often run errands for her, just little things, but it made us feel like we did something great because Miss Lowe trusted us to go to the corner store. We raked her leaves in the fall and shoveled snow in the winter. She always had on an old apron over an even older looking dress with knee-high stockings rolled down and funny looking black shoes that looked like they were too small. The house was filled with antique furniture, but the smell always stayed the same, the smell of cookies, cakes, and dinner cooking. When she wasn't cooking, she would be sitting on her porch watching us play all day. Looking back on those days, I see now that Miss Lowe used all those sweets to get our attention so she could tell us stories of the old days, and we would sit around her and listen so intently, and she was so good at telling stories to the point where she made you feel like you were there. One day after school, everyone ran home to change into our play clothes and go to Miss Lowe's house as we did every day, some for babysitting because their parents were at work. Back then kids were trusted with the key to the house, and others because, well, it was just the place to be. As we reached the front porch, we noticed something just wasn't right. Normally she would leave the door open for us with just the screen door closed so we could yell and let her know we were there, but both doors were closed and there was no note attached to the door. As kids we knew no better. We figured she just forgot to put the note up, so we just played in the yard and around the house until she gets here. Time went on and still no Miss Lowe. Parents were starting to pull up from work, and it's getting darker by the hour, and still no Miss Lowe. Little by little everyone started walking home. I remember leaving the porch and getting a few houses down and looking back, seeing Kenny slowly walking off and looking back at the house with a very confused and concerned look on his face. Kenny was the oldest of all us kids and only hung around to tell us what to do and be bossy, but he still was one of us, one of Miss Lowe kids. That night at the dinner table, my father asked what we did at Miss Lowe's house today. What stories did she tell? While still eating I just said, "Oh, she never came to the door so we just played in the yard today." Dad then asked, "Well, what did the note say?" After taking a long sip of my Kool-Aid I said, "There was no note." I looked up just in time to see my parents give each a concerned glance at each other. Little did we know that other kids were at home telling the same story. Just then the phone rang and it was Wanda's mom. Wanda was one of the kids that went to Miss Lowe's house for babysitting. The next day was Saturday and seemed like all the parents met at Miss Lowe's house, knocking on doors and peering in windows, and all us kids just stood around not understanding what they were doing except for Kenny. He told us that Miss Lowe was old and she might be in there dead. Next thing we knew the police were pulling up, and they broke in looking for her. They searched the whole house, and to everyone's joy it was empty. The police told my father, "She may be off visiting family," and that's when Barb yelled out, "She doesn't have a family, we are her family." But we were just kids, so no one took us seriously. It wasn't till Kenny said to the police, "Sir, something's not right." "What's that, son?" the police said. Kenny went on to tell him, "Well, when you came you opened the screen door, and then opened the other door to get in, but she never unlocks that screen. She only comes to that door to tell us to come around to the side, but it stays locked. She said it was broken, that's why." This is when all the adults looked at each other with concern and fear. Later that day, more police and detectives surrounded the house where we all played and found so much joy. That went on for hours into the day. The next morning we woke to see yellow tape around the house. I overheard my parents talking and saying that is not a good sign. The word had spread through the neighborhood like wildfire that they had found Miss Lowe's body in a barrel in the garage with her throat slit and beaten real bad. The police told the parents that this was the workings of a serial killer. They had been tracking that target elderly women that lived alone. A few days later, after the tape was taken down and all the doors and windows were boarded up, we all met up on the porch, not for candy, cold pop, or to even play. We just sat on the porch talking about all the good times we had. Some were crying, some just looking into space. But all had that common thought: how could anyone kill her? How could anyone harm an old lady like that? Just then we heard a knocking that seemed to have come from the house. Kenny said, "Did y'all hear that?" We didn't want to say we did, but it was too obvious to deny. Fear then took over sorrow. We all stood and backed away real slow, then came a loud scream and everyone took off running in different directions. Subscribe, like, and share for part 2. Thank you for watching.